Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would sit down and do a video for you guys and gals. So let me get a sip of my water first. My beautiful radio voice going, and let's talk about this. All right, on the topic of arms, every guy's favorite muscle group to train. Well, usually younger guys. All right, I used to say for years ago that really all we needed was the big compounds, closed grip benching, weighted chin-ups. All that would give you big arms. Okay, it should be fine. I said that a long time ago, a decade ago. Guess what? I said that while rebuilding, of course, later. After getting sick, after detraining, after getting really fat again, losing all my muscle, having to rebuild in my early 30s, mid 30s, right? I had bigger arms when I was younger in my 20s when I actually used to do curls and all sorts of rope press downs and a wide variety of dumbbells and other stuff, right? Preacher curls, had bigger arms. Okay? But there's been a whole bunch of coaches, strength coaches, who all tried to say, oh, you don't necessarily need curls, not a big deal. You can have big arms from doing these big movements, right? You just need the bench press and the weighted chin up and all that, you'll be fine. And, I listened and was influenced by some of these people, like the starting strength guys. And when I did do curls, right, doing my curls, I treated them as an afterthought when I did them. And what happened? Had a case where everyone's like, Blaha, you don't have arms. You don't have arms. Your arms suck. Now that I've started training my arms directly, they've been growing. They've gotten bigger. A lot of people have noticed, yeah, we've seen some definite changes there. Okay? They're still not quite caught up to where I want them yet. They're not perfectly balanced. Probably need another inch before they're in balance with my chest and back. But here's our moral lesson from this. I wanted to believe that. Because especially when I was caught up fully in the strength thing of saying, well, biceps aren't even that important of a muscle, right? Not that important. They don't help with your deadlift. Didn't want to sit around doing curls. What happened? Well, obviously I built a massive back and legs. That's what happened. My arms were lacking. Even though I did tricep work, a lot of tricep work later, because I was close grip benching. And I had my close grip bench at 365 with a pause at one time. I was able to do 250 for sets of 10 after hitting a 365. Okay? My triceps came up some, but they weren't big. So here's what people have to think about. All these coaches who said this over the years, even me who felt influenced with that, but lots of my clients did lots of curls. You guys notice that I have clients who had big arms in some of the vlogs. Notice they all did curls. They all did dumbbell extensions and all sorts of stuff like that, right? Didn't they? And if you look at those guys, what were they all doing? They're all doing dumbbell extensions, band press downs, barbell curls. Some of them even did bands for their biceps, high rep band curls, all this pump work. Or they would be real strong at pull-ups, and then they would do barbell curls to failure after doing pull-ups, right? Yeah. A lot of them had good size arms, didn't they? What does this tell you? Because when you look at what they did, I didn't always have them on like the upper lower type splits where I would do, or a lot of my lifters did, my power lifters, to where if we do arms, we do them as an afterthought after all that other big work. And that's one thing if you're just doing your back. If you're doing just your back and then you do biceps, works great. If you're doing just your chest and then you do triceps, it works great. But when you've done back and biceps and pull-ups and rows and benching and overhead pressing, and then you get to your arms, by that time you are so fatigued. Your nervous system is so fatigued that you can't even recruit the upper threshold muscle fibers in your arms. Okay? And we know this because we saw it even in my own training when I went over and messed with an arm day. What happened? My strength went up immediately on my arms. Notice particularly even the tricep movements. The tricep movements got stronger. Okay? Like my isolation work was 10, 15 pounds heavier. Why? Because I hadn't done massive amounts of non-tricep work first that fatigued my nervous system. It's one thing if you're fatiguing the muscle. Again, doing chin-ups before curls is not going to be bad for your biceps. Doing bench and overhead press and then doing your curls, because you've used all these other muscles and the biceps weren't even related. They didn't even get involved. They didn't even barely got a warm-up. All right, this becomes problematic for getting to those deep muscle fibers, the ones that are going to get the most muscle growth. Because now you're too fatigued to hit the fast twitch muscle fibers anymore, and if you are, guess what? Now you can do it if you do a long workout and you take a nice long break in there, maybe. But if you're trying to condense it down into time, you're just like, well, I'll just do some pump work at the end. What happens? It's not hard sets that actually you had enough nervous system to get to the upper threshold muscle fibers still, the fast twitch fibers, to actually recruit them. May only be giving you those intermediate fibers, which are just not going to give you as much muscle growth. It's just not. Then what happens when those max out in size? You got to find a way to get to that. So here's what I would suggest to people. If you want big arms, you're going to have to take arm training seriously. You are going to have to take it seriously. You're going to have to put just as much effort into your biceps and into your triceps as you do into your deadlift, guys. You have to. And that's just a simple reality. Unless you're very genetically gifted there, which I'm not. I don't have amazing arm genetics. I've got the back genetics. Or was it my training style? Because I don't know. I did tons of really heavy back work from a wide variety of angles. And trained it really hard. It could be that. So what I would suggest to people, if arms are really important to you, you're only going to be able to train maybe one other muscle group before arms, or they're going to need their own day. Okay, now if you don't want to do an arm day, perfectly fine. You better do biceps immediately after back. Okay, triceps immediately after your chest work. Because you're already using them on it. So those big movements are hitting it. We're falling back into that strategy of heavy work followed by pump work. But you can't treat them as an afterthought. If you're going to take that approach, right, you still need to be fresh enough in your workout that you can actually train your arms hard. And you're going to have to actually train the arms hard. You're actually going to have to focus on the sets. You have to focus on the range of motion. You have to focus on feeling that muscle. You have to focus on progressive overload. You're going to have to get gradually stronger on your arm movements. Right? That 15-pound dumbbell eventually needs to be a 25 or a 30 for the same range of motion. And it is that simple. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.